What's up, y'all? I'm Jalen,
And I'm Jaida.
and thanks for tuning in to another episode of We Out Here.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to another episode. I just want to start off by saying that tomorrow, May 30th, marks our 1 year anniversary of the podcast. Yeah. So, thank you for rocking with us for this year. Time went by really, really fast, but Jalen and I really appreciate you guys who have tuned in. And, we'll continue to share our stories and spread content and stuff like that. And, keep listening, share with your friends, your family, and we'll keep the discussion going. Jalen is not here for this episode. We tried to record it a couple days ago, and I just wasn't feeling good about it. It was kind of boring. So this is take two, and Jalen's got a lot of stuff going on. So, she's out right now. So all you got is me. Sorry, or, whatever. But for this episode, we are continuing on our journey with relationships. We talked about family, the different parts of family, and friendships. And now we are going to move on to idolization and mentors. This is a subject I specifically wanted to speak about because it is, I don't really know how to describe it, but I guess you'll get it as the episode goes on. So by this point now, I could say you guys know me pretty well by what I've shared with my life and my relationships with my family and my friends. I'm not really close to my family. So my friends are really important, but I didn't have many of those like deep. Any relationship in reality wasn't super deep. It was all pretty surface level. Aside from a couple. And as you know, may or may not know, depending on when you're joining the podcast, I do struggle with, I'm going to stop saying, I'm sorry, it's really getting on my nerves. I struggle with anxiety and depression. It's a big thing that's around nowadays. Not necessarily that it's new, but more people are sharing their stories. And I've shared mine a little bit, my struggles in college and growing up and feeling alone. So that's where idolization comes into play for me in my life. I've talked about how, there it goes again. I've talked about how I kind of don't live in reality, and that comes from this idolization in a way. I guess so you could say it was a way with coping with life and my very vivid, wild imagination. So let's start with the definition for idolizing. So there's two definitions. I believe I got them from dictionary.com. And the first definition for idolize is to regard with blind adoration and devotion. And then definition number 2 is to worship as a god. Now, looking these up, I was like, dang, that's kind of extreme. Like, I don't think I do that. It's very extreme to idolize somebody, especially just human, because they also are just human. But, that's not something that is in the forefront of your mind, especially as a child. So let me describe my idolization journey or how it comes into play for me. Growing up, as I have brothers, but I was mainly an only child when I was living with my mom. So growing up, I did spend a lot of time with myself alone, and we talked about how important it is to spend time with yourself. But you have to figure out ways to entertain yourself. So I've always been interested in movies and the arts, music. Those are very important to me, and art in general is important to me in life. So with movies, I love to watch things over and over and over again. Same thing with music. I'll listen to the same thing over and over and over again, especially something that resonates with me. And so let's use this example. Say there's a specific movie that comes out and I watch it, and sometimes there would be a specific actress, specifically an actress, a woman, that would catch my attention. And I would then, and it could be somebody I've seen multiple times in other movies, other settings, but for some specific reason, in this, in that moment, they caught my attention. And from there, I would look up who they were, research them. I would look up other things that they have done in life, watch interviews. This is how I spend my time, as a child in my room. I would watch interviews, and yeah, it would become an obsession, and I would really look up to them. I don't know if it was idolization, but let's say it was. It depends on the person. Some of them I was way too obsessed with. Not worshiping as a god, but definitely there are some people I had the blind adoration for. I wasn't building like shrines or anything to anybody, but I definitely did build an obsession. And each of these women all have taught me different things in life, such as how to be more comfortable in my own skin, how to love myself, how to laugh at myself. And these are things that I didn't really get to put, trying to find the right words, but like to work those muscles, I didn't really get to do until I got to college, but I was learning these skills from these women. And yes, they were always women. I don't know what that is about. I guess my life, there's mainly a lot of women in my life. And also I have like a weird relationship with guys. I don't know what that is. We all know I need therapy, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Um, yeah, so I would look them up and study them, and they would end up teaching me something in life. And then, in some weird way, they would kind of lead me into the next person that I would be obsessed with. And, it was just a cycle from one person to the next person to the next person. I would learn something different from them. And they also contributed to my wild imagination and being able to make up stories and loving art and a deep appreciation for performing arts. Yeah, performing arts. But for me, it it got it was a good thing. I feel like I was looking for something that was lacking in my life, and I found them through these people that I quote unquote idolize. Um, but with them feeding into my imagination, I had more interest in living in that imaginative world rather than the real world. And as I got older and I struggled more with depression, and the more time I spent in my mind, the less I found myself able to live in reality, or the more I struggled with living in reality. Um, and being able to just do simple things, and I just spent more and more time in my mind, which was a good thing in terms of creativity and art, but a bad thing in terms of just, being able to be a human, just being. Um, because there's so many things that have gone, there's always stuff going on in the world, but these past few years have really been a lot. Like, it's really difficult to hold on to. And I feel like it's desensitized me in a way where, like, I'm just kind of like, the world is going to shit. So, like, why do I want to be a part of this world? And I know that's not a good mindset to have, but it's a mindset that some people have. And I've seen situations where people who idolize other people, like celebrities and stuff, um, are talk are looked at weird or talked down upon. That's not the right way to say it, but you know what I'm saying. Obviously, not obviously, but because you shouldn't hold. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm trying to keep it together, y'all. I'm trying to keep it together. But people who idolize other people were looked at in a different way. I've seen that happen, and that's bothered me because it's like, I understand where those people are coming from. Like, yeah, you shouldn't live your life in devotion to somebody else, you know, especially people who don't even know that you exist. But some of these people and in these situations have been able to save lives, have been able to build community, and have been able to just get people to get through the day. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I've talked about this many times on the podcast in college, that sophomore year when my soul had left my body and I was just kind of out here, body on autopilot walking around, and other situations where I couldn't, get out of bed, or situations where I felt like I couldn't breathe, if that makes any sense. Like, no matter what, I couldn't get enough air, or tightening in my chest, and I felt like I needed to get emotion out, but it was just stuck and I was just numb to the world. There are artists whose music was able to get me to get that emotion out, or who was able to help me find some kind of breath, you know? Or they gave me something to look forward to in their work. They gave me something to dream about in their work. There are other situations where I have been able to be a part of a community and meet some great people through loving and appreciating this artist's work. Um, I've met friends, there's this one situation. Sorry, I'm shifting around in the chair, trying to get comfortable. There's this one situation where, people have fan pages on social media, and, I'll scroll through, of course, if there's somebody I'm obsessed with at the time. And this one person was just, she was in charge of the fan page, and she was going through something, and she posted about it, and I reached out to her, and she's good. She's all right, y'all. But in reaching out to her, she came back to me and thanked me for that, and from there we became friends. Like, And please be careful when you're making friends online. I'm not telling y'all to just run out and, be friends with everybody, but as when there's when you find yourself in a place where it feels like you're alone, like those people, it's nice to be able to talk to people who feel what you feel. That's the whole part of community. And even though I wasn't necessarily alone, I had friends, I had family, even in college when I had the closest friendships. There's times where you still just feel so alone, like on this earth and in this world. And I will say that I am religious, so I my depression and stuff like that is not an issue of not believing in God and stuff like that, because I know that comes up with some people as well. Um, and I do have a good relationship with God. Um, but it's more of the sense that on earth, and I know, he's watching out for me for sure, and I've seen that in real life, but on earth, like, you still can feel that sense of loneliness, and that's not a good feeling. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, but that really could get in your mind and really jack you up. And sometimes that leads to unfortunate situations that may be suicide or stuff like that. And being in your mind is it's just crazy in there. It really is. So to be able to look up to somebody who can make you laugh for a second or smile for a second or can help you breathe for a minute and help you find some kind of community with people you can talk to and connect with, because it's not that easy for everybody in life to be able to find that. It's not, and that's unfortunate. You would think that's easy, but it's not for everybody, especially when people, sorry, I'm stuttering, when people are stuck in their minds. It's just really, really wild. um and as we're talking about, the difficult subject of suicide, I'm not going to go too crazy in that, but I did want to bring this up for a minute. And this is all my journey and my perspective. But, just be careful with the way you talk about it, and you deal with people or handle people who are dealing with depression or people who have gone through that. Um, because I do see a lot of comments where they talk about how selfish it is and stuff like that. And I don't view it that way. Um, it is something I've thought about in my life, and it was because I was thinking about other people and how other people would be better off if I went around. And it's also like, once again, once you're in stuck in your mind, that's the only focus. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something easy to get out of. Um, and my mind just went blank, but I think you guys understand the point. So, also, anybody who may be struggling, um, there are people out there who you can reach out to, and you're not alone. And, we got you in the We Out Here community. So if you ever need to talk, I'm here. I also need to stop saying, but you are, oh my gosh, you guys are definitely on people's minds and cared about and important, and you matter. And, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You guys are real. You're meant to be here on this earth. You just got to figure out. But that is my experience and journey with idolization. More obsession than that. And it you they've helped me through my life and taught me different things, and have also it has bled into my reality, um, with, oh my gosh, not me losing my train of thought again. It has bled in my reality and helped me learn to appreciate art and myself as well, and has brought me to some really wonderful communities. So I am thankful for that. And also, I'm not going to be in your ear talking about God all the time, but also for me, I feel like that because they've taught me lessons, that's also how um, God communicates with me, because that's how I listen and understand. So, once again, that's just me and that's my experience. So, that's idolization. And something that another subject that I felt correlated to idolization was mentorship, which is, more of the reality side. For me, I've had two, let me go back. The definition for mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor. So the reason I think they relate for me specifically is because the people I was obsessed with, I they taught me lessons and advised me in a way. Um, but in real life, I have had, I would say, two mentors, um, which one, my dance teacher that I grew up with, and one of my professors in college. Um, so I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. Not too much to say, but we'll start with my first one, which was my dance teacher growing up. Shout out to Miss Tara. I don't know if she's listening or not, but shout out to her. Um, she was my dance teacher. We spent a lot of time together because I was taking mad dance classes, and for the end of my high school years, revolved around dance. Um, and she did change my life in a sense. Like she led me onto this journey of dance, and I remember the first time, like, people have stories of like when they knew what they wanted to do for the rest of my life, for the rest of their lives. And I remember my moment um, was sitting in, so you'll have in dance, maybe like towards recital, the studio will sit down and watch the dances and stuff as like, I guess, a dress rehearsal or something like that. And I remember sitting down, and my dance teacher, she was also in some of the performances, or some of the pieces. And I remember watching her, and that was a moment for me with like stars in my eyes, like, wow, this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Like, this is it. This is everything. Just watching her dance. And it's funny because I danced in different settings, but for some reason, other I wasn't able to always get the same level of energy that she was able to pull out of me. And I think that was because she had so much, and I always would try to match her. Um, and she was definitely somebody I looked up to. And towards those last few years of me dancing with her, we got close, and she was like a second mom to me. I went to her about my um, anxiety and stuff. Also, because I was experiencing those in dance class, those weren't happening at home or in school. Um, but she definitely um, was an important person in my life, and because of that, I went on to dance in school, I wanted to be a dance teacher and have my own dance studio, but I don't think that's the the path for me. Teaching dance to people who don't know how to dance. I think I'm more of a teacher in a different sense, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, the desire for it and learning, um, finding my passion started with her, and for that, I'm forever thankful for her. We don't talk really as much now, but I hope she knows that, she was definitely an important person in my life and she did a lot for me and changed um, my life in a sense, especially as being the first person, like real person who knew I existed, um, not just the person on the TV or computer screen, um, that, I could, that I looked up to and was in front of me and was willing to teach me. And yeah, so definitely, once again, shout out to her. Shout out to Miss Tara. Much love. Um, and then we'll move on to my next mentor, which happened in college. Um, she was a professor at Drexel. Um, Shout out to Val. Uh, I love Val. She just makes me happy. She has she's always had like this energy about her that's just like something that would usually make me be like, "Oh no, I'm not interested," cuz it's so like just bubbly and happy and bright, and for some reason I was really drawn to that. And it seemed like the other students weren't really interested in that kind of energy, and I was. So from there, Val kind of became the next important person. Um, she really helped. She definitely helped me on my journey through school, and she's the one who I would go to. Like, it's funny because I used to say she was the reason for my chocolate addiction, because she wasn't well with handling like crying and stuff. And I would go to her office and be like, my life is falling apart. And she'd be like, "You want some chocolate?" So now when things are like falling apart, I'd be trying to get chocolate. But now I just eat it whenever. Doesn't matter if things are good or bad. But she listened. She was always ready to help and pushed me. She definitely pushed me a lot. Um, and I'm grateful for that. And these were the first two people that I felt, aside from like friendships, that I felt saw me, like actually saw me in the world. Because I did feel like, and sometimes I still do feel like I'm just here and I'm invisible. Um, and I feel like she actually saw my person, if that makes any sense. Um, yeah. And I feel there's so much more to say about Val, but I can't find the words for it. Also, don't know if she's listening or not, but if she is, thank you, Val, for everything. Um, yeah. Um, and no, there's no and. But they've both definitely helped me on my journey and understanding myself. Um, and that was important, as well as just feeling seen, and that my voice, they Val helped me find a voice and showed me that it was important and that it mattered. Because growing up, I felt like I was really quiet, and I felt like the things I had to say weren't important and didn't matter. So, like, why say anything at all, you know? But now look at me sitting here in front of the microphone, just talking away for 30 minutes. So, yeah, it's been a journey. I've come a long way. Um, and I appreciate the journey. I know with the idolization thing, it might be kind of weird to people. It definitely was a lot to take in just reading the definitions, but that is my life journey, and that's how I got through life so far. And where I am now is more of a, I guess you could say, at a crossword roads where I'm trying to live in reality and trying to figure out how to make the art in my mind a reality and leave behind the not so great parts. Um, and I don't idolize or obsess anymore. I mean, I kind of do, and it still fuels some of my art in terms of storytelling. And I would love to share those stories with people. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to share those stories. I have a couple of different artistic avenues or directions that I want to share those, and I'm working on those. Just trying to get the motivation for it. um, but now with these people, it's less about obsessing and it's more about admiring their work. And they've all, both in my mind and in reality, all have helped me um, figure out what it is that makes life for me, and why it matters when um, other things in life just don't do that for me. And yeah, um, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to say today, I guess. I hope this episode was all right for you. I know Jalen's not here. We miss her. She'll be back for the next episode. um, but thank you for sitting and listening with me and rocking with me. We all know my mind is wild, out of control. So if I lost my train of thought there a couple of times, I apologize. If I'm not making sense to you, sorry. But I know there are other people who struggle with similar things and cope in similar ways. So I hope that helps. Um, it is still May. So I didn't do anything for this month, as it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I will say, pay attention to your mental health. Do what you got to do to take care of your mind. It is very important. Take your time for yourself. We talked about that a lot in the last season. This season, we've been focusing on mending those relationships, but it does start with you. And this is kind of I guess would be our kind of mental health episode, but it doesn't really have to be. We did do one for last season. If you wanted to go back, if you haven't listened to that, that's there. It is, once again, a year that we've been doing the podcast. So we appreciate y'all. We are, we want to build a community where people can discuss art and life, and we're sharing our journey. And I hope that it reaches you guys, and if it can help in any way, that's the main thing for me. We have our Instagram. that if you're not following, go follow. We post questions and stuff on there at We Out Here J, just the letter J. Same thing with Twitter. We post questions on there, so you can join in the discussion on either of those. We are also streaming the podcast. We have the Audio Boom, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and we also have a YouTube channel called WoJ, WOH space JAY. We got about 6 videos on there. Some of them are like you can see what it looks like when we're podcasting, so you can see our face. And then some of the other things are just like behind the scenes of our photo shoot, getting to know us a little more, and us just hanging out. We're just sharing who we are, and don't be afraid to reach out, talk to us. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So once again, thank you for listening. We'll be back, and much love and appreciation. And we out here. Peace.